Welcome back here again on the Biz Portal for this segment on Trends. And this is your host, Dodi Casino. And our topic for this episode is the global IT for the Philippine market. And with us is the principal from Algeo Consulting of New York, none other than Mr. Karnik Minashan. And we already covered much on the learning, and now we're talking about the demand. Would there be a demand, and can you name some of the companies that probably will be looking for this type of Java programmers elsewhere in the world that you know of, Mr. Karnik or Mr. Minashan?
Well, the demand is there now. The pain points are fairly evident. Putting a program like this will have an immediate, at least an immediate impact, primarily because you're addressing. It's not going to be the solution. This is basically, the solution will be when it's expanded and you have more and more people that are now productive in the workforce.
Okay.
Fairly large companies, financial companies such as Citi, AIG, keeping in mind is that they hold a lot of data for financial sectors.
Citibank, AIG, okay.
Thomson Reuters, all of those, they hold a lot of data, especially that they collect on a daily basis.
All right.
Eventually, they will go into the big data market. How and what is it that they do eventually is...
Like Social Security is a big database.
Absolutely.
You talk about Medicare is also a big database. Insurance is a big database.
Correct.
Credit cards are a big database. All of those are big databases.
Actually, one of the largest reinsurers in the world had just won a prestigious Master Data Management Award by Gartner. And the reason they won is because they actually built their own structures, and instead of using Hadoop, they used another tool. They used SAP. But ultimately, from that point, they demonstrated to say how they now manage their own data. So that became the catalyst for the next project, which is, from their perspective, improve business models. And how to tap on global customer market without impacting anything.
For an entry-level Java programmer, what will be the kind of starting salary pay for those guys in the U.S. or I don't know which market, whether they're based here or based in the U.S.?
I don't know what the market is over here. I know for a fact that somebody with that kind of skill set, you will start immediately anywhere between $50,000 to $70,000.
Per annum?
Per annum.
Okay.
Quickly...
That's a big chunk of money. You're talking about $50,000? You're talking about, what, $4,000 a month? Hey, that's a very executive pay equivalent that we have here. And this is a startup salary. And the demand is how many? By the few tens or by the hundreds or by the thousands?
And
how many is the demand? Will the demand be more than a few tens or hundreds, or is it hitting by the thousands?
No, it's by the thousands.
Companies
are growing. Looking at just the on the wanted charts, there isn't anything that doesn't say, master data management, hospitals, insurance, as you mentioned, all of these areas. I mean, especially now that in the U.S. where you have the new healthcare law, that becomes now very much prevalent into how you find specific data.
But what a lot of our viewers, look quickly, I just want to take this 1 second for time. There's a high unemployment going on in the U.S.
Correct.
And how does that impact to the IT market? Specifically, like, while people got no jobs, they're no longer brick and mortar type of jobs. They're mostly home-based. And how can this be able to cover that demand still, in spite of those spaces? I mean, there's a huge gap between those who got jobs and those in need of jobs.
Either they get retrained, for those who get retrained, but at the end of the day, right now, the only thing is how do I get 10 people, 15 people, 20 people to start on my project because I'm going to fail.
In spite of the collapse that probably the U.S. economy is encountering right now, or the crisis it's encountering, technology will not wait.
Nope.
Technology will always still be there. Demand for information will always be there.
Right.
It will never fade. I mean, the economies will fail, but the demand for information will never fail.
Correct. Because to run a business, you need to understand what is it that you want to explore.
Okay.
So looking at it saying, well, I need to tap on a different market. I need to tap on different segment of a market. I need to find out how I can manage information, financial information, human information.
Okay.
So that becomes the need that technology will provide the solution for.
Okay. And you see that in spite of all this crisis of the country that we're seeing on other major networks, is that technology will there be to stay. It will never fade. And while technology is there, there's demand, there's resources that's still needed, that you need to build.
Correct.
And your approach right now is going to the learning institutions like universities and colleges. And do you see the potential of this happening? How long or how soon? Would that happen immediately, or would you see this happening quite a fairly long time before you settle this model that you're trying to bring into this country?
We're looking to start implementation towards the end of this year because we have some logistics to need to address.
Okay.
But once that's done, then...
What type of logistics are you looking at?
Well, we're looking at things such as where we're going to host our equipment,
Okay.
how we're going to identify the specific resources. But more importantly is that in any project we have to have governance. And the governance is coming from the educators, the teachers, that actually will be taught the specific subject matter, and they will become the guide to those students. And that educator will become the mentor.
Okay.
And the success of those students is fairly reflected into the educator because it's interactive. Essentially, the whole idea is that to produce skill sets that are usable into the outside world. And even if you are not the perfect Java programmer, if you will, but you have the foundations that actually will make you into a better. The word fit for purpose comes to mind. You're developing resources, training to fit the purpose that is required for industry.
Okay.
How they grow into within their organization, it's always been, I can start you off, but you evolve within the organization.
Right. But the source of the training will come from the U.S.
Correct.
And you're bringing them here electronically.
Correct.
By e-learning.
Correct.
And so it's like bringing the classroom from the U.S. straight here in the Philippines through these different institutions.
Absolutely.
Okay. And from there, how do you go from there? How do you move from the next step?
Well, from the institutions, then you go into the different markets. Then you go into the different segments.
Okay.
From my understanding is that there's about 26 centers that are being built across the Philippines. By the government,
Okay.
by, I believe, the PSIA.
Philippine Software Industry Association.
Correct.
Okay. In collaboration with government.
Correct.
Okay.
Those centers will become the hubs for people who, as I said, you have to have, if you have the drive, it didn't mean that if you don't have anything
You can work
else.
here, you can work there, you can work
Right.
anywhere.
That's all it is.
All right.
That point that provides the ability to now grow not only from the center of Manila, but also in Cebu, in Davao, anywhere that you have those centers.
Oh, okay. So the entire islands, in other words.
Absolutely.
It's all inclusive.
All inclusive. There's no exclusion here. Passion, drive, tenacity.
Okay. And your experience with the Philippines, you said you've been here before,
Yes.
right? And how promising is that? How do you see that the market here to fit into this demand that you're trying to bring in?
It is extremely promising, and some of the things that, one example that I would like to give is, I was on the call because of Philippines now is started to be the customer service for pretty much all the companies in the U.S. They've de-risked some of the India places and they've come over here. The thing that impressed me, and this is why I say drive and tenacity, I was speaking with one customer service representative. I forgot her name, but I'm sending her an email to thank her. I had a problem, and her shift was about to be over, and I said, well, your shift is about to be over. The one statement said, I'm not going to leave you until I solve your problem.
Wow.
Said it all. Just that
Wow.
passion, the drive,
He won't let you go until he's fixed your problem right there.
But your shift will be over. I don't care. I'll stay here until I solve it.
And was able to solve it for sure.
She solved it.
Okay.
It took about 45 minutes more than what her shift was, but she solved it. And then she sent me a note after she finished. She said, problem is solved. I hope you didn't have too much of an inconvenience.
Right.
Drive, tenacity,
Thank
passion.
you for your business. Interesting. So that's that's kind of work nature that you find among Filipinos.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Opportunity. If you provide the opportunity, challenge the Filipinos to and give them the canvas, if you will, and they'll do.
Mm-hmm. So it's not really the technical savviness to get into making the breakthrough. It's just the drive that you have, the motivation, the enthusiasm among the individual that you're looking at.
You have to have a foundation.
Okay.
In other words, from our courses, if you have the Java, and I stated because that is the ultra white hot topic right now. If you're going to take this course, you still have to have a basic fundamental understanding of computers or of programming, because if you were a mechanic 2 days ago, if I put you into the course, then it's not fair to you and it's not fair to anybody else, because you will fail.
Yeah.
But if you have the basic foundations of programming, very, very basic.
So once you have the foundation of programming, next level is your drive.
Right.
Then you were mentioning earlier, the creativity, the imagination, you were saying?
Yep.
Those two, you combine it all together, that's what...
And you'll succeed. Don't give up.
Okay, and you see that among the Filipinos per present.
Absolutely.
All three factors. Once they learn the technology, the know-how, given the proper drive, the tenacity, and the creativity, the innovation, the inventiveness, you get yourself a good formula.
Mm-hmm.
How do you how do you orchestrate all of that when you have a big room filled with those type of individuals?
This is where the educators and the governance people come in. They point out, they pull, they encourage. All of those things are part and parcel of the success. It is about, and you had mentioned about what the drive, one of my previous experiences is that I constantly told my teams when we were delivering for one of the major healthcare institutions, we had a problem, and I said, you know what, we should give up. All of them yelled no.
Yeah. We're coming to our closing of the program. Normally I ask my guests a few questions. What is the forecast? Give me a quick forecast. What can you see in the next 365 days, in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years? What's the forecast that you see as far as this trend is concerned on e-learning?
From e-learning, you're going to see a lot of expansion into the specific topics.
Okay.
You're going to see core people starting into positions that actually now they can expand their knowledge. Hopefully it'll expand beyond the universities and go into different areas, including some of the companies that require e-learning for their staff, and then general public.
Okay, so within the companies as well?
Absolutely.
They will still need e-learning as well. Those are already
Absolutely.
existing. I see. So it's never going to be saturated for that matter. I mean, it's going beyond the university. You're starting off with the university. You're starting off with the colleges. Trying this model, and then as they move along and they move to these companies, and the companies get to absorb them, and then those who are already working there, they need to upgrade themselves as well, and there's a cycle. Let's move on and on and on and on. That kind of phenomenon will coexist, will exist worldwide. Would you say?
Yeah, it has to. Knowledge is what drives. You understand something, but then your tenacity and your drive will expand upon that.
Okay.
Limitless is I can use for people who are driven, because there's nothing you can't do. You just have to find a way.
Unless they pull the plug and there's no power, there's no electricity.
Oh well, that's a different story. At that point, we run computers by candlelight.
But they can still power them up by solar or whatever. Any last words for our viewers? You can face the camera.
Well, I strongly encourage for the students to expand, limitless your mind, challenge, question everything, primarily because you need to get answers to specific technologists. Work with your professors. They are a wealth of source that they can actually help you. For industry, encourage the schools to and guide them into the direction that you would wish them to go, because unless they know what you want, they won't know what to give you. So grow tremendously, because you do have the potential.
There you have it from Mr. Karnik Menashan. Grow is the word. Grow just like nature. Mother Nature would grow into a plant, blossom into a fruit, tree, whatever. The potential is there. Hope you have learned so much on this episode from the Trends Analysis for this business portal. This has been your host, Tony Casino. Do stay tuned for the next program. Okay.